And so we wanted to talk a little bit more about science. Testosterone and oxytocin are the two things that you got to keep in mind about delivering strategies to kids. So these things, competitiveness, self-assertion, self-reliance, territorialism, and aggression, are great. We wouldn't have gotten to the moon or across the oceans or anything without guys having a lot of that, and some women, but they weren't allowed to do that at that time. The problem in schools is when you go over the top, right? When there's too much aggression or too much territorialism or that sort of thing. So we want to talk about what the good things are about testosterone and how we might mitigate it a little bit. I'm going to tell you about a strategy for territorialism right now because I'll forget it otherwise. If you have your desks in little groups, you know, like 4, you know how that all you put desks together? Inevitably, you're going to have somebody complaining because somebody's pencil is on their desk, right? You know what I'm talking about? The cure for that is to keep the pods exactly the same, but move the desks an inch apart so the pencil falls off. Or there's an actual definition of space, so it's not like it's all one space. Now, if you're at a table, you have them at tables, it's a lot different. But that's an idea about territorialism. So I want you to watch this, and then we'll talk about it.
Testosterone has a reputation. A bad reputation.
Only a jerk would act like that. A complete idiot.
It is often associated with violence, rage, and aggression. But it's also associated with sex and power.
The amount of testosterone in your body may be equivalent to a pinch of sugar in an Olympic swimming pool, and yet it has these profound effects.
To understand how it works in humans, scientists are looking at the beginning of life. When human life begins, all fetuses look female. Both males and females are exposed to testosterone in the womb. Boys produce significantly more. Levels peak at around 4 months. The amount of testosterone that male and female fetuses are exposed to at this critical point affects how the body and brain are built. Less testosterone can result in better verbal skills. More testosterone can lead to better visual spatial skills, like this mental rotation test and parallel parking. The amount of testosterone that an individual was exposed to in utero can be gauged in some surprising ways. According to some studies, it shows up in the hands. Specifically, the relationship in length between the pointer and ring fingers. It's called the 2D/4D ratio. A longer pointer finger, compared with the length of the ring finger, means lower testosterone exposure in the womb. A pointer finger shorter than the ring finger indicates a high dose was received in utero. Having a longer ring finger has been correlated with high sperm count, assertiveness in women, and athletic ability. If a glance at someone's hand can reveal mental ability, personality traits, or athletic skill, could this prejudice a potential employer, opponent, or mate? Could such a simple method be reliable? 2D/4D research is controversial, but it does appear that testosterone is determining a lot about who we are before we are even born.
First of all, I thought everybody's hands looked like my hands, but until I saw this. So I have a ring finger that is definitely shorter than my pointer finger. Now, this doesn't matter if you're male or female. All females get testosterone. Some of us get more, some of us get less. all boys get at this early stage testosterone, some more, some less, but then boys go to create a lot more after that. So if your ring finger is shorter than your pointer, no matter your sex, that means you had less testosterone in utero, which means in my case, I'm less competitive than other people, and I'm not very aggressive. I like conflict. I mean, I'm self-assertive. It does not going to mean that all these things are going to fit. By the way, this is statistically significant. It doesn't mean that everybody fits into this. But this means that maybe quite a few teachers might have a lower ring finger, shorter ring finger, because then that means you're less aggressive, you're more verbal, you're more relational, that sort of thing. The norm is for them to be the same, okay? Now, there are teachers that have a longer ring finger. And what that means is they're probably more competitive. So at Corwin, we always had a decorate the door contest at Christmas time. You can believe there were some teachers that, by gosh, they were going to win that competition. You know what I'm saying? Or that you might have been more in sports in school, that sort of thing. But it does tend to show. So when I talk to people and I find they're an engineer or an architect or something, I say, can I look at your hands? Generally, they have a longer ring finger because they're much more spatially involved. If you look at your high school math teachers and science teachers that are female, they may have more a longer finger because, again, it's that more mathematical sort of thing. Language arts, social studies, that sort of thing, they're much more into words. So now for your kids, you remember, if you're in primary, you usually do at Thanksgiving the turkey thing where you draw around your hand and add the feathers and stuff. You can now see if you have some kids that are particularly assertive or aggressive, that might be just how their bodies were built. Again, we're into nature-based theory, but we totally believe in nurture and cultural. There are things that change all of us based on those things. But what I'm talking about here is mostly nature-based.